Hi kids! Today's story we're going to read about Thumbelina. Once there was a tiny little girl who was born out of a beautiful flower. She was as long as a thumb, and so everyone called her Thumbelina. In the daytime, the woman had placed a plateful of water, and there were a large tulip in the leaf in the water where Thumbelina always sat and sang on it. One night, as Thumbelina lay fast asleep, an ugly old toad saw her and carried Thumbelina away. By the next morning, Thumbelina woke up on the ugly toad's home. When she saw the ugly toad and his son, "You would be a beautiful wife for my son," said the toad. She was very frightened and started to cry. Nevertheless, the fishes in the water pitied her, so they decided to help Thumbelina. The fish gnawed away the stem of the lily pad on which she was sitting, and then the butterfly pulled Thumbelina away. One day a passing beetle saw pretty little Thumbelina sitting on the lily pad. He flew down and carried her with him. The other beetle did not like little Thumbelina and drove her into the forest. She was alone in the forest, surviving on drinking nectar. The winter came. She crouched in a withered leaf. Cold and hungry, the kind-hearted field mouse discovered Thumbelina. The field mouse gave Thumbelina lots of yummy food and invited her to stay. One day, Mr. Mole came to visit the field mouse, and Thumbelina, he fell in love with her. Mr. Mole invited Thumbelina to visit his house. At the door of Mr. Mole's home, Thumbelina saw a swallow who was frozen stiff. Thumbelina quietly put warm cotton on the swallow. The swallow came back to life. Summer is coming. She was going to marry Mr. Mole, but she did not like him. The swallow thanked Thumbelina for her kindness. He carried her on his back, and they escaped. Flapping his wings, the swallow flew south to where it was lovely and warm. The swallow and Thumbelina arrived in the south, where beautiful flowers bloomed everywhere. The Prince of Flowers welcomed them warmly. To Thumbelina's surprise, the prince was as tiny as she was, and she fell in love with him at first sight. To Thumbelina's joy, the prince loved her too. Thumbelina married the prince, and they lived happily ever after. Thank you, kids. Tomorrow is another beautiful story I'm going to read for you. Good night, kids.